Hey everyone, Matt here from Reloop. I'm here at DJKit. We're going to take a look at the Reloop RP-8000S turntable. We've got the box right here. So this is the straight arm variety, also comes in a standard S arm as well, so we've got two options for this. It's an official Serato accessory, more onto that later, but let's have a look inside. So first thing we've got is the turntable platter, which comes with a slip mat, nice heavy chunky metal with a big fat magnet on the inside, rubber damped to help with vibration reduction. Next is the turntable itself. Take care to not damage the tone arm, and check inside the packaging where you'll find the counterweight and the target light, which is the little illumination light. Lets you see where the stylus is on the record. So just a quick look around the back of the turntable where all the connections are. We've got your AC power adapter, 2-pin figure of 8 adapter is included in the box. You've got your audio output. This is a twin RCA with a phono and a line switch. So this turntable has a built-in phono stage or preamp, allowing you to output either on a phono or a line level. So you can plug it into the phono or vinyl input on your amp, but you could also then plug it into an auxiliary CD or any other line input as well, which is really handy for flexibility. Here's the USB section. Now this turntable, being a Serato accessory, does have a built-in Midi controller, which is connected by the USB, the link section here allows you to link multiple turntables together, thus saving on USB ports, so we'll touch on that a little bit later as well. Okay, so once you've got the turntable out of the box, first thing you want to do is put the platter on. Center hole goes over the spindle in the center of the turntable, so you just line it up and it's on. So next of all, you want to connect the audio cables. So these come in the box, color coded, red is right, white is left. Depending on which input you're plugging it into on the mixer, here's your switch. So we're going to go into the phono input, so you set it to PH for phono, and then you connect the other end into your mixer. Now for the Midi controller, USB in, and you connect that side to your laptop. We are using a second turntable as well, so what I've done is on the other side I've got this USB. Rather than plug it into the computer, I'll take it and I'll plug it into the link. So now what I've got, this is deck 2, I've got deck 1 plugged into deck 2, and I've got deck 2 plugged into my laptop. So these are now all connected. When you open up Serato, it's going to know which is your left channel, which is your right channel, and it's just the simplest way to set the whole thing up. Okay, so we've got the output from the turntable plugging into the phono input here. Now we're using the Reloop RMX90 mixer, which has a built-in interface, and another nice thing about this mixer is the hub. So powered USB hub, so the USB turntable, off the daisy chain turntables, we can now connect the USB, which would have gone in your laptop. If we connect that to the hub, that's now turntables plugged into the hub, and we can have just a single port coming out, which will power the interface and the turntables all from one USB. Okay, so we've got the phonos plugged in. Now we're in the phono input because we're on a phono output. The reason being, phono output is a lot quieter than typical line, which is why you need a phono stage or a preamp to boost that phono signal up to a line level. If we were to plug this straight into the line input, it would be very quiet, and vice versa. If you were to plug a line input into a phono input, a line output into a phono input, then the preamps in here are going to boost that signal even more, and you're just going to get horrible distortion, and you may even blow up the speakers. So just be extra vigilant to note which input you're plugging the correct source into. Now next to the inputs, you'll see these 2 pins. These are the ground pins. Usually says GND, or it'll have a little electrical symbol next to it. What this does is will ground or earth the turntables. If you don't do it, you could get some kind of crackling, electrical interference sounding noise coming through your phono signal, which is less than ideal. So it usually comes with a little 3rd pin, a little spade connector, which you attach to there. Now it doesn't have it on these connectors because we're using the Reloop RP-8000 turntables, which are internally grounded. So you don't need that extra 3rd wire. It's usually for older style turntables that don't have that built-in preamp. These have that extra technology built in. It's just another little step removed, which makes them a lot more easy to use. Okay, so what we're going to do next is attach the cartridge to the turntable. Now we're using the Autophon Mix. This is from their Mark II range. Concord cartridge. Brand new, fresh out of the box. Now what's new about these, you can still see they have the classic Concord shape that everyone is used to. Stylus guard is a lot bigger, makes it a lot more difficult to snatch the stylus and obviously protect it while it's in transit. The stylus tip itself, if you can see that, is bigger. It's a bit less flimsy to handle, and then when you connect it, there's a nice little click and a notch just to give you peace of mind that the stylus is properly connected. Now the coolest thing about these, and we've probably all been there, if not you'll have heard about someone that has, is snapping the arm of the Concorde. Autofon, in their wisdom, have made a replaceable arm lift, so that just easily unhooks off the back. So if you snap it, no worries, no need to do the old zip tie trick or anything like that. You can just get a new arm and put it back on. So when connecting to the Tonearm, the little notch at the top on the back lines up with the inside of the arm, and it's as simple as screwing the collar on. That's it, attached. If you're not sure on the connection, a little tip: if you push it in, slowly wind the collar back on itself until it clicks. Now it's at the 0 point and you can tighten it in. Do it up nice and tight. Now that arm lift also acts as the seal to give a nice strong connection on the back of the cartridge. Now the next thing to do is to weight it properly. If you see, before I put the cartridge on, the arm is just floating around, and before you put the counterweight on, it just sits there. Now obviously that's not the best way to DJ with. Put the cartridge on the front, that's now very heavy on the front side, which is why we have the counterbalance to provide a counter to that front weight. A lot of people just put it straight on and wind it all the way up to put maximum weight on the front. That will work, but each cartridge has its own specific rating that gives you an idea of how much downforce you need to have the cartridge performing at its best. Helpfully, on the back of the box, Autofon have given you a little guide, so we can see here, as well as the output and the frequency response of the cartridge, it gives you the tracking force. Now here it says 3 grams. That's usually in a range of 2 to 4, with 3 being the middle, being the optimum. So you can put on as little as 2 grams or as many as 4 grams without damaging the stylus or your record. So the way to do that: pop the cartridge into the Tonearm, take the stylus guard off, and then with the counterweight you just wheel it back until the arm balances on its own, neither up nor down. Pretty close. Lock it into the arm. Now the front part of the counterweight, the little dial, spins independently of the main weight. What you need to do is turn it to 0, so we now know that as the cartridge balance, as the arm floats on its own, that is the 0 point. So that is 0 grams of downforce. So all you then need to do is turn the back of the thing round to 3. That's now providing 3 grams of downforce, which is the correct rating for this cartridge. Okay, so we're all connected. We switch the turntables on. Now you see channel 2 comes up on the screen. Now that's because we daisy chain these correctly, so that deck 2 is plugged into deck 1, which is plugged into the laptop. Just to repeat, the left deck is always the home deck. It's always deck number 1 and should be plugged into the laptop or the hub. Every turntable after that flows in a left direction if we're talking about right and left decks. So deck 2 here, the right deck, is plugged into deck 1, which is plugged into the laptop. That's just why when you power it on, it automatically knows that it's channel 2 and the other one says channel 1. If for any reason it doesn't show up that way, or if you're not daisy chaining the turntables and you're just plugging them both straight into the laptop, then on the fly, if you hold down the jog wheel, you'll see it start to flash. Now you can turn the jog wheel and reassign it to any other deck, because we've already got 1 and 2 assigned. It will only choose 2, 3 and 4. We want it as 2. You can also then tap the corresponding pad to select it as well. So most common case that this would happen is in the club, you have to power off the turntable, you power it back on and it's lost its assignment. Just hold down that button, tap the number that you want the deck to control, and away you go, and that then assigns all of the MIDI load and everything onto that turntable. Okay, so we've got the RMX90 DVS mixer here. We've got everything plugged in. We've got the USB on the interface. Power the mixer on. Every LED on the mixer will light up first, so if there's any gaps in there, then you'll know that something's up. Plug in the USB into our Serato computer, up and running, and away you go. Now, because I'm running a Mac, that is the setup done. Plug your turntables into the mixer, plug the mixer into the laptop, and Serato is ready to roll. If you're using a Windows machine, there's one extra step, and that is you need to install the ASIO driver, which is available to download from the Reloop website. Instructions are in the box on how to do that. It's a very simple process, and what that does is that lets Windows know that you're attaching an external audio interface, and will allow all the signals and the software and the hardware to talk to each other as needs be. We're set up now with the RP-8000. We're just going to take a little look at the Midi function, the Serato controller that's built into the turntable. You've got the jog wheel, which allows you to browse between your folders and your tracks, and it's a simple push to load, and it will load it into the assigned deck. Pro tip, if you're using instant doubles, which will double over from one track to the other, a double tap will load in that instant double. Nice and easy to use, it's very intuitive. You've then got your pad section. So you've got 8 pads, drum pads, and 4 pad modes. So the first one is cue point, lit up in blue. There's you control your cue points. If you hold down cue and tap the button, you can delete them and then reset a fresh cue point in. Green is loops. So you've got auto loop sizes, on and off. Tap loop again so that it's flashing. Loop rolls. Sample controls your sampler. If you hold down sample, it will stop the playing sample, and then your slicer will only work if you've got a beat grid assigned. Just set a rudimentary beat grid, and now we've got the slicer function built in. Tap it again and you've got the loop slice. Okay, so that was the RP-8000S turntable, the Serato turntable from Reloop. This is available now at DJKit.